What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to build some of these Traxxas Trx4M shocks. I went ahead and put the O-rings in the bottom of this. You will need to put some shock shaft lubricant or grease on it. It will help the shock shaft move in and out of the O-rings without snagging up on it. I had already done it and then was like, I should be recording this, so I just threw the camera on it. You will need a pair of pliers or some shock pliers, preferably. I don't have any shock pliers. I use needle nose. But it's pretty simple putting the shocks together. You really want to make sure to use some green slime or something from Team Associated. Something for the shock shaft. Some shock shaft lube. But other than that, it's a pretty easy thing to put the shocks together. I'm going to use paper towel, put it around the shock shaft so that way I can grip the shock shaft with the pliers and not damage or scar up the shock shaft. Because if you damage or scar up the shock shaft while putting this, I don't know what you call it, this the screw, the ball joint for the shock shaft, putting it on. If you have just the pliers on the shock shaft, you'll take a chance of scarring it up. And then when it moves in and out of those O-rings, you can rip and cut into the O-ring and it'll make it leak a lot worse. 30 weight shock oil. They typically come with 20. I decided to go with 30. I don't like the car being so bouncy. But it's really up to you, whatever you want to put in them. Definitely want to make sure to get all the air bubbles out. What I do is I have the shock shaft all the way down. I'll fill it full of oil, and then I'll push the shock shaft up. I'll push the piston up, so that way the air will rise that's trapped underneath the piston. And then when I pull it back down, those bubbles will come up and they'll be closer to the top. Getting the air out is very important. If not, you will essentially hydrolock or airlock your shocks where they won't go up and down very easy. But once you get the air out, you top the shock off with oil. And I should have put this blue shock bladder in the cap first, but getting ahead of myself and I didn't do it. Anyways, you want to sit the shock bladder, the seal, in the cap, and you want to make sure that it's evenly placed in there, because if it goes in there crooked whatsoever, you can rip the bladder and you'll leak. So make sure that it's set down all the way in there. You don't want it to be crooked or off to one side whatsoever. Now, I turn the shock just a little bit and I keep the cap turned a little bit. You can see there's a hole in it, and you really want that hole to be at the top, because when you put the two pieces together, you want the air to naturally float to the top. So you'll kind of turn both just at a slight angle, and then you'll slowly screw the bottom on just enough to catch. And then you want to push the shock shaft all the way up. This is going to help bleed and push out the air that might be towards the bottom of the bladder at the moment to the top. Then you want to hold that shock shaft and slowly twist that shock body, letting the air escape out of the top of that hole. Then once you get it tight, you'll wipe down the excess oil. You don't want to get none of that on there because it'll collect a lot of dirt and dust, and it's just bad. It makes a mess. That and a clean build is a better build, in my opinion. But once you get it cleaned off, your shock shaft should move and stay up or down. It shouldn't Shocks are made for dampening the up and down movement of your vehicle. The fluid, the shock shaft shouldn't hold a bunch of weight. It shouldn't hold the load of the vehicle. That's what your spring is for. So if your shock is, if the back of your vehicle, the front of your vehicle, if your vehicle is just sagging at all, you need to up your spring rate, not your shock oil weight or anything like that. So these springs are real cheap. You get them $3 for a pair of springs through Traxxas. I have no issues. I actually have a set of the aluminum shocks that will be used in a later video for an upgrade, but I've never had any problems out of the Traxxas shocks. They leak a little bit. All shocks, in my opinion, well, I can't say my opinion. All shocks that I have dealt with start leaking at some point. If you properly build them and you add the correct amount of shock shaft lubricant and you bleed them correctly, make sure all the air's out, they're just fine. Like I said, zero issues with Traxxas shocks, but we'll get the other 3 built off camera. You don't need to see me do all 4 of them. And just keep in mind to take your time when you're doing this. Don't rush it. Make sure that you pick out the correct oil that you want to use. Even test different weights if you need to. Make sure that you get all the air out of the shock so that way it moves up and down properly and they'll stop getting stuck. They do have a little bit of a break-in period, but we'll do the other 4 off camera real quick and then we'll start installing these. I got the chassis, so we'll get this wrapped up and go from there. Okay, for this section of the video, we're going to go ahead and put the battery tray in, run the wiring, and install the ECM. Section of the video I'm not really going to talk through. You can watch, pretty self-explanatory, easy stuff. Alright guys, I appreciate everybody watching. I'm going to wrap this up, put the wheels and tires on it, get the body snapped on, and that's going to be pretty much the end of the stock Trx4M build. I just want to say thank you. I know it's not really the videos that y'all are used to seeing from me, but due to some issues right now, tabletops and stuff like that's about all I can do, and I really miss doing YouTube videos, so that's about all I'm going to be putting out right now. I will also be doing a couple sticker videos shortly and posting them for y'all to see. So make sure that you go over to Facebook and like Showroom Hobbies. It'd be very helpful. And I appreciate y'all watching these videos. Have a good one, and I'll see y'all in the next video.